Hey, folks, we're back. Once again, and as always, I'm Brian Kynes, the creator of the Tales of Ulran campaign setting. We use a whole bunch of different TTRPG systems to make the. Um, do I want to call it the cesspool of rules that we use? Do I want to call it a cesspool? I don't think I do. But just the plethora of different information and different systems that we use to create the way that we play. We borrow pieces from Dungeons and Dragons, from Pathfinder, from DC 20, which is a brand new thing that's been coming out lately. Footnotes and stuff from Critical Role and the things that they've done. Matthew Colville has gave me some pointers along the way, by watching his videos. And we take all that and it becomes this, which is a nice balance of function and a little deeper reality, so we get a little bit more, our teeth into this a little bit more. And the two gentlemen that are joining me on this Sunday afternoon are here to help me write this story one chapter at a time. Last minute things happen. Life happens. And we do not have Bella or Colby today. Bella's folks were getting back from vacation and hadn't seen her in a while, and they wanted to go over things and talk about that. And Colby is a young man in college right now, and we don't ask him what the hell he's doing. Sometimes he just has to do stuff, and that's perfectly fine. So if he wants to skip a Sunday and not play pretend with adults, I guess we can forgive him. That's fine. Now, whatever happens to his character is completely up to Danny. We've already decided this. Hence why Danny is grinning as big as he is. So, Colby, you get what you get, bud. You play, you pay. We're in the middle of what I think is an awesome, I don't want to speak for everybody, I'm having fun with it, a boss fight with a plant creature that is just like, it's nasty. And the group is doing really, really good. Danny's arcane blade has been throwing fireballs at this sucker. He is draining his magic points pool like Rambo throwing shells on the ground. Is letting it go. And Rook has been super useful with his use of the echoes and doing all kinds of different things. I'm getting ready to pull up the map now and show you the scene that we had at the end of our last episode. But before I do that, because I talk a lot, Danny, introduce yourself and the character you'll be playing tonight.
I'm Dan. I'll be playing Finthier. He is a arcane blade, and he's a Lunesti elf. And not a big introduction tonight. If you're watching, you'll get to see what an arcane blade is.
Look at you. That was menacing. It's like, you're going to find out. Okay, so Jeremy, go ahead, sir. Talk to us about this awesome guy over here.
Rook, our resident broody individual.
Yes.
One of two, but
yeah, the brood bros.
Mine's broodier.
Right?
Broodier.
Yeah.
Yeah, we make up words if it's cool. It sticks.
Also the resident firearm specialist at this point.
No shit.
Fucking things up with a good old dragonfire blast.
That was epic. And I rolled stuff for that. My God, dude. And you killed like 3 of them seedlings too. I mean, you just like whoosh. Mm-hmm. Things happened, man. It was awesome.
But otherwise, I'm just the guy who likes to go into battle with his imaginary friend.
After Finn see that thing explode in your hand, I'm sure he thought that was a wise decision not taking that.
Right. And speaking of your imaginary friend, he is over here hiding behind mushrooms, which now in comparison I realize are extraordinarily big compared to a 5 or 7 foot tall person. But listen, what would SpongeBob say right now? Imagination is the key here. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, everything else is pretty good, but that's them some big shrooms, boy. That's like some Candyland shit. So regardless of that, that's where your echo was the last time we were playing. Okay.
Yep.
Now, we do not delve into everything that Arson or Azara are able to do. what we're going to do is we're going to let the guys roll 1d20. When it becomes their turn, or if there's something interesting that they want to do with these characters, I have given Danny full reign to what Arson is capable of, and I'm giving Jeremy full reign to what Azara is capable of. They understand some of their abilities. They may ask me to have them do things that they actually can't do tonight. It's going to be all right. It's going to be okay. As long as we're reasonable and the potency of what they want to pull off matches the roll on the 1d20, 20 being like they produce unicorns and fly into combat, whereas one Arson sits on the ground and pouts and kicks a rock. We'll let that reflect, and we'll try to have as much fun with that as we can. Okay? So, I
Weapon
was
is,
watching... Oh, go ahead, please. What were you going to say, buddy?
just want to know what his breath weapon is, because if it's lightning, I'm going to William Wallace his ass.
Well, it is, but it takes on a necrotic look because of the curse that is on him, because he is, we've decided, because the Draken in Ulran, I didn't want to deviate from regular dragons that much. I don't mind explaining this for just a moment, because I don't think it's ever really been said. But, I'm sorry, everyone, but it's a bit cheesy to me to have different dragons flying around the world that are different colors, and the color that the dragon is like what color the crayon is in the box is the kind of stuff that they spit out at you, and I don't like that idea. But I did like the idea that each one of these different dragons, when you're flipping through the books, in all the different kinds of books and all the different TTRPGs, they look different. If you look at a red dragon in a D&D book, they have a very specific way that their horns are structured, and where their wings are out on their back, and the musculature of their four legs. Where if you look at some other dragons, like a bronze one, they have that one large fin on the back and a much more rounded slope on their eyes, and a gold dragon almost looks kind of oriental in its flavor. So those are your different breeds. Okay? We don't necessarily paint them each a different color like road signs. So there's that kind of thing. And with the Draken, they all have that kind of reptilian look to them, but what Arson's characters went through is some kind of foreshadowing curse. So he appears to look like a black Draken with the black scales and the darkened features and shit like that. But it's not because of the race that he is. It's because of the curse that's upon him. Does that make sense? You guys are like, maybe? It does make sense. Trust me. I've thought about it a lot. Okay. So he would be lightning, and it would look like the Emperor's shit from Star Wars, bud. Okay? Power! Like that kind of shit. So, let's go ahead, and we'll do an initiative and get back into this. If you'll remember correctly, Azara had cast gravity on this guy again, and at one point she was trying to lift him up. Remember that? And it ripped several of these leg stalks out of there, but he was able to hold on to it, and he was like teetering by half. And then eventually she lost concentration and he fell. Boom. And when he did, although this poison spore cloud is not as dense as it was, but he blew it out forward from him closer to us. Danny even tried to light the shit on fire, but the fire didn't clear it out with his fireball. It actually cleared out the back side of it to a degree. So the creature has its tentacles down in the ground again and has landed. I don't remember what she had been doing with her gravity at this point.
I think the original plan is so she had it lifted up, and when that concentration broke, she went ahead and used it again to slam it back down.
Okay. And because I do have written down on here slam damage. Slam damage! Whoa, slam damage! Yeah, so
like Macho Man Randy Savage special.
Yeah, slam damage. Ooh. So, also, I do remember that you guys I've got it written down here, you guys have been, this thing looks rough. Okay, and this creature here on the side of it had actually wilted and died before it had a chance to actually be born and disconnect itself from the what we're calling the grove eater or mama grove eater, if you will. So it's hanging there pretty much demised. Let's go ahead, and I want to ask you guys, do you want to do a group initiative where you come up with a plan together? And if so, I will give you 2 minutes. Well, you know what? Because of Finn and her, or not Finn and her, of Arson and her, I'll give you 4 minutes if you want to do a group action where you plan a course of things that you do together, or we can roll initiative, everyone goes individually. How would you like to do it today?
So we keep chipping away.
Which means
Individual. Jeremy's doing good doing the flanking stuff that he's doing, and
okay. You good at that, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like different TTRPGs, you are doing a skill check with a 1d20 based on what you're planning on doing on your turn. So I will give each one of you guys a minute on my timer. After that minute, I want you to come up with your plan of action, and you'll message that to me here on our Zoom meeting, and then I will have that in the books. And as long as it doesn't alter significantly, you will be able to carry that through with no penalties. Okay? And then, for instance, if you are doing an attack action or something like that, you'd roll your 1d20 plus your dexterity bonus if you have finesse, or your strength if you're using robust, and then plus any skill points you have towards being faster on the draw. Okay? So guys, go ahead and we'll start that time right now. You feel free to talk out loud, or whatever you want to do.
That firearm, was I allowed to load all the rounds into it, or was it a one at a time?
You had only spent time to load the one round into it, if I'm not mistaken.
And did we determine if it was a bonus action to reload it?
I'll give you each attack as a load one in it. I'll have you do it that way. Because you've got pre-made cartridges, you're sticking it in, spinning it, and going. This is a pretty decent kind of thing. This is almost like shotgun shells in this thing.
I got you. I could see that.
Yeah, it just goes in a chamber. You stick it in, pull back the hammer, and it goes. You're not doing musket stuff in this one.
Now, I didn't get down how many of each, but we did cover which ones I got. We basically just said it was a handful.
Yep.
Of rounds of different kinds.
I remember we had an amount, and you only had the one dragon's breath.
Yeah. I've got the mundane that has runic etch, and then I've got the possibly refurbished cool to the touch.
Okay.
I should also have a 5-foot radius around me because I did the Gale Blade.
Awesome. I'll add that to you here in just a minute, boss. So, Jeremy, if you just want to roll away, I thought we had read that down, but if not, just roll 1d4 for each other kind to see how many you have on you. I think she handed you 4 total.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're right, because I think one of them was the flare round.
Yep.
I had one of the others.
Yep.
So
just go with that for now.
Yeah, okay. What I'll do. Do I need to message it to you, or just say it?
You can just say it if you want to, or you can message it either way.
Say with 2 attacks, I'm gonna take a moment to load it with the more mundane round that has the runes on it.
Mm-hmm.
Then that'll be one of my attacks. My bonus action will be to swap places with my echo, so I can try to get on the other end of where I can see over the fog to see straight at it.
Got you, Danny.
And then second attack against the creature.
Okay. All right, you guys, it's time to roll for your initiative. Tell me what you get.
$25. 25.
Shit, yeah, buddy. That's a good number.
Yeah, it is.
Rook, what'd you get?
22.
Nice, buddy.
Actual 16 plus 6.
Okay, and we'll just do this. Roll me a 1d20 and a 1d8, Danny, for your character. And then, Jeremy, roll 1d20 and a 1d8 for the character that you're controlling. And tell me how they do. First, let me know how Arson does.
13.
Arson is a 13. And what is Azara, Jeremy?
19.
19. Okay. So, in this order, it is going to be Finn first. And that will put the Grove Eater after that. Okay. Finn, what you got, buddy?
I'm going to step up to the center of the bridge just in front of Azara.
Okay, let us count the steps here. Let me get to your character. The gang. Finn.
Yep. Count the waves.
Right. And you had that moon aura up. Let me give you that, bud, just because, fun stuff. There we go. And what was the radius on that thing?
Only 5 foot.
How much?
5 foot.
Okay. That's pretty close to it right there, actually. Let me just make sure I'm doing this right. It looks like it's reaching out 5 foot everywhere. I like it. Okay. Got it, bud. Look at you being all cool. Okay, so you want to move in front of Azara, correct? Is that what you're saying?
Completely.
Okay, so let's count your steps. Let's go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. It'd be 30 to go between Arson and Rook. 35 is going to put you right here beside her. How many feet of movement do you have on your movement action? I couldn't hear that, buddy. What'd you say?
45.
Awesome. 40 is going to put you right here in front of her. Is that where you want to be, or do you want me to move you somewhere else?
That's perfect.
Okay, got it, man. Okay. And from there, you are starting to look into this large cloud of poisonous spore-like gas. You don't know what this thing is. You guys have done very good to avoid it so far, but it is. You can almost taste it in the air, bud. What are you doing?
A spell attack, which I'm just kind of casting in that direction. It's area of effect, but
Okay.
it's a 20 total with all bonuses. Casting gust of wind. A line of strong wind, 60 feet long, 10 foot wide, blast from you in the direction you choose. Each creature that starts its turn in line must succeed on a strength saving throw or be pushed 15 feet from you in the direction following it. Any creature in the line must spend 2 feet of movement for every 1 feet it moves, moving closer. Oh wow, this thing lasts.
What's the straight line of that? How far is that effect?
60 feet.
60 feet. Okay, it's going to hit him, but he's a huge creature.
Right.
And he's also planted.
Mm-hmm.
But what that does is, I'm going to roll. You said you rolled a 20 was pretty much the potency of your spell casting?
Yeah, the gust disperses gas or vapor. It extinguishes candles, torches, and similar unprotected flames in the area. Causes protected flames such as lanterns to dance wildly and has a 50% chance of knocking them out. So it'll disperse the gas.
Awesome. You've got it. Gas. Like the end of Hot for Teacher by Van Halen. Gas dismissed. Let me go ahead and do this real quick. And where are you at, buddy? Let's do Poison Cloud. And with your gust of wind, the cloud dissipates.
And it actually lasts up to a minute.
Oh, hell yeah, that's cool. Okay, well then let's do this for you. Okay? I will, if you want to keep that barrage on, and what do you think about just keeping it pushing on the creature?
Yeah, why not for a little bit?
Okay, so for the fun of it, let me put this graphic on here so we can kind of see what we've got. Let me go to your character here, Danny. Just a minute. Here's Finn. Let's do a new layer for you, Finn, and let's go ahead and put in a brush. Let's do this. Let's go with this color. I'll just make this brief. I think I can do a kind of a neat looking thing here that might be cool for this. How wide was this?
10 feet.
10 foot wide, huh? You said 60 foot long, correct? Okay. Just a minute. Go ahead and do this here real quick. Okay. And yes, everyone, I know that wind's not blue. We're just trying to represent. Okay? So this is going to represent the force that you are hitting him with currently. You cool with that, Danny?
Absolutely.
It's the force.
Is it for you good? Right. So that's what you've got there. And that is, make sure I'm put this in the right one, the gang, Finn, and here is the wind. Got it, man. Okay. Let's reshape this. Resize. Go 10 that way, 5, 10. Oh yeah, you're into it. Got it. Okay, that'll work, man. Okay, and you're holding concentration on that, correct? Okay, let me give it wind. Got it. Okay. What else are you doing on your turn, sir?
That's it. It's a full action spell.
Okay. Awesome. Next up is going to be Rook. You are up next, sir.
All right. So swap, but now I can't. So doing what I said I was doing. Gonna go take one of my attacks to reload. I'm gonna put in one of the rounds that's seemingly mundane with runes etched into the casing.
Okay. I remember this. Hold on.
And just in case it tries to pull any bullshit, like he's going to be where he's sitting now looking at this thing, and then he's going to use his bonus action to teleport or to swap places with his echo.
Awesome, buddy. Okay, let me do that for you. So you've used one attack action to load in a oddly rune carved mundane. Okay, got it. And then number 2, for your bonus action, you're switching places with your buddy here. Okay, let's do this. Okay, Rook. We're going to move you here. And Rook 2, you go here. Alright, so that happened. Okay, now what, bud? You've used a bonus action, and you've used one attack action. Or one attack.
Now that I'm up there by the mushroom, even with the cloud gone, I'm going to level out that shot and pop it off.
Okay, so what are we rolling to do this? It's
I think last time we did it D20 plus Dex.
Okay. Go ahead and give me that roll. And if you would, please do that with advantage. The reason being is that gust of wind that Danny has produced, all those spores blew back in the face and the direction of that creature, and it has all those little rows of small eyes on top of its head. Okay? So in that moment, all those eyes are kind of blinking and fighting to keep the footing. Okay? So it is majorly distracted by that. So roll with advantage and tell me what you get.
35.
Oh, 35?
Yeah, that was just a combination of the D20s.
I was like,
Be
you've
a
lost your damn mind.
19 plus dex, which is 21.
Wait a minute, aren't you doing it with favors? So you roll a d10 instead of rolling two 20s?
Right, you're doing it
Oh,
with favor.
yeah.
Yes. So you're rolling a 1d20 and a 1d10.
That's right. So d20, d10.
Thank you, McGuffey. Appreciate you.
It's not phenomenal.
What'd you
D20
get?
plus D10 is a 18.
And then plus your dexterity modifier?
Yeah, that's
Total
plus.
18? Okay, so on this creature, right now, there's a total of 18. That hits, but it does not breach the creature.
Does this count as a finesse weapon? Or a light weapon?
Yes.
Alright, so if that's the case, then I have a +4 to hit from skill points. So that makes that
22.
22.
Okay. That hits, but it still does not breach.
Okay.
Okay. This creature is got a lot of shit going on. But it's a double-edged sword. You've noticed that you can get through this with some potency, but it's not like he's wearing armor, but it is still an obstacle to deal with. So when you pull back the trigger, pull back the hammer and aim this thing and let loose, you don't know what to expect, what's going to happen, right? Okay, I need you to roll me a 1d6.
Two.
That's pretty fucking cool. So, I can't give you the normal control over this cantrip that a spellcaster would have, but they're all going to go to the same place. But this is cast as an Eldritch Blast of 2nd level. So, do you remember how Eldritch Blast works?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. At 2nd level, that is what this is. Okay.
You're talking about it like when you reach 5th level, you cast it at its 2nd stage.
Yes.
So it'd be 3 beams.
Correct. You want to do quick damage variant for those, and they're all striking onto the homing in on the same target. Yeah, because you
Like,
can
get a bonus to the damage on that.
based on what?
Skill points in evocation damage.
Not in this case because of the method in which it was released. Hey, you've tried better. You've tried better before, bud. Okay, so go ahead and roll. What is it? Is it going to be? Is it 2d10 or 3d10?
It is. See, I always cast it at max level, so it would right now it would be 1 beam reach. I don't know, it's 2 beams at 5th level. So okay, so it's 2 beams at 1d10 each.
Okay, so 2d10. Okay, so you want to just go ahead and do 10 points of damage? Or you want to roll them?
I'm gonna roll them.
Okay,
That's
have fun.
14 points.
You got 13 out of that?
Yeah,
Lucky dog.
that was 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 9 and 5.
14. Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's not bad. Okay. When you do that, the creature bellows deep down and begins to go down into what looks and appears to be possibly a shutdown mode. Okay? So the mouth closes over top of this low, and this is making that noise. The teeth and everything kind of clamp shut and go over top of each other like this, and it muffles it, makes it sound like an inside rumble to right? And as it does that, all the eyes seem to roll back in its head, and those little spikes that are on top of its head seem to Sorry, the word I'm looking for is eluding me. They seem to roll over forward and cover the eye sockets almost like eyelids. Okay? And you hear a hum begin to start. I want you to roll me and let's say history. Both of you.
Oh, nope. Natural 3.
Okay. What
Natural
about you?
2.
Natural 2. You guys aren't sure
Makes
what
sense. I don't think I would have ever seen something like this anyway.
No, you guys aren't sure exactly what is happening.
It doesn't know the words. It's humming.
Yes. What are you doing at the rest of your turn at that point, Rook?
Wishing a motherfucker would. I want that bitch to hit me.
Right. Well, you know, you're
Otherwise, I'm sitting tight. That's what all I got for the turn.
okay. So now it's going to be the Grove Eater's turn. Okay. So as this happens, let me make sure I'm doing this right. Okay. As that happens, you start to feel kind of a rumble. Okay? And up from the ground, where Finn is located and Arson and Rook, vines erupt from underneath of the stone in the way, and what he's doing is he's shutting down and beginning to bore and control the roots and things that he's becoming reconnected with. Okay? And as his lair action, we are going to get some roots that pop up around you guys, and you're going to have to deal with it. Now he's lost track of where Rook is because of his moving back and forth, and he's focusing this on Finn, which is just blowing this constant stream of wind right at him. Okay? So let me get ready to do this. Okay. And they erupt up and out all around you guys. Okay? That's for the whole group. I need everybody to roll me strength saving throws. Now, I don't know what that aura does for you, if anything. I'll give you a chance to debate with me, McGuffey, if you'd like. But otherwise, you're rolling a strength saving throw.
Well, you see,
Shit.
everything is, all the bonuses are on Dex, Con, and stuff that come out of that. But what that aura does do is it creates that 5-foot radius. Anything in there takes damage.
Nice, buddy. That happened the instant something moves into it?
Yes, I've got that as soon as I find the right sheet.
Okay, that actually is kind of neat. I just threw a bunch of briars into the blender. That's pretty cool. Right? So while you're doing that, Jeremy, I want you to roll me a 1d20 and a 1d4 for Azara and tell me what you get.
Oh, here it is.
18.
She is not grappled, but she will be taking some damage from this. And then go ahead and roll me one for arson, a 1d20 and a 1d8. What's it say, Danny?
You fill the area around you with arcane blades that resemble your own, centered on your current location. The area of effect moves with your character for the duration. Any enemy must make a dexterity saving throw versus your spell save DC when it enters the spell's area for the first time on a DC or starts its turn there. Enemies take your current weapons damage plus your intelligence modifier and 4 slashing damage on a failed saving throw, and half on a successful. Additionally, when you move within 5 feet of an enemy, they also must make a dexterity saving throw versus your spell for full or half damage once per turn per enemy. When you invoke this ability at higher levels, the damage increases by 1 additional damage die.
Nice. So in this instance, because this creature is shutting its eyes and it's reaching down in and sensing you, but it can't see this, I want you to roll with favor when you're rolling your challenge level or DC for me to have overcome by these.
Well, with favor, I got a nat 20, so
Did you really?
29 on top of that. My DC is +9, so that's a 38 for the DC.
Okay, they can't beat that by any means whatsoever, which is fantastic. What is the damage of this?
1d8 plus my intelligence modifier.
I want to see how bad they failed. So you said it was, what was it again?
38.
16, 26, 36, 22. You add 4 points of damage to each one of those.
So that would be 8 plus the...
So whatever the middle point is of your weapon,
Yeah.
you add 4 to it, and then your bonuses.
Yep, so 8. And then all I guess this is intelligence modifier, so +5. So that's 13 points of damage to...
To each one of them, it's in that area.
Hmm?
Okay, let's look at it. So you've got, I'm going to say 1, 2, 3 in that area. With that much, you said what was the total again?
8.
13?
Hmm?
13 points of damage mows all 3 of those down. That were around you, but Arson and them are still covered. Okay? Let me go ahead and do that real quick. Artbreeder, grasping vines. Let's go ahead and get rid of that one was there still. Let's get rid of. Yeah, I don't have them numbered. Sorry. There's 1 down. There's 2 down. There you go. Mo. Right? Good job. All right. And you said what was the roll for arson on that, Jeremy?
15.
Okay, they both. And what did Azara get again?
18.
Okay, Azara passes, and she's only going to take 4 points of slashing damage, which I'm going to mark that down. And then Arson failed, and he is going to take the full blunt of this.
I may be off, and I'm not sure levels a month, but can he use a key point to up his saving throws?
No, not this, not in his level, no. He cannot.
Okay.
So he takes 11, which is armor. Well, no, he's currently not armor because he's in monk form right now, so it only has a resistance of 3. And that is a breaching attack on his armor. So his armor looks a little rough for wear because he just got done he was in the jungle, baby. And he's going to take 8 of that 11. Okay, good deal. All right.
My echo rolled a 12. It was considered magical damage.
Oh shit! It actually it's a natural thing, but damn it! I hate the way guys make me reveal things because this is a quandary. Let me think about this for just a second. Well, that helps because there's little plot things here. No, this is. He just takes, so how much damage can he take before he's gone? Just one?
Just one, but it's got to be magical. Because we determined that otherwise he's otherwise ephemeral.
I've got to do something. Just a second. This is interesting. We'll let the dice decide how this works. There's a lot of things going into this, Mr. Geaton. He fades. And I want you to think on that. Okay, that's a clue. So, as that happens, let me go ahead and move to you, the gang, Rook. And
Fades.
2 fades from view.
I wonder if this thing feeds on magic.
Yeah. Now, keep in mind, Azara only took some of the damage from it. She's still able to be moved, but Arson is restrained currently. He's not just being grappled, he's being wound up and held. Okay? Which means he can only move and wiggle because that thing's got him wrapped up like a freaking python. Okay? Danny's happy about that. Okay, the next person to go is Azara. It's Azara's turn, Jeremy. Roll me 1d20 and tell me fun things.
$15.
Okay. So you understand how this works. You understand 15 is in the middle of the upper echelon here. It's better than an average thing, but it's not something that's going to make you want to sign a Wheaties box. Okay? So, what are you thinking? If you can't come up with something, I'll throw something out there. But I want to give you a chance to flaunt the gravity-wielding arcane dancer in all of her glory here. What are you thinking?
She's been really big about crowd control up to this point, but now we've only got the one thing.
Correct.
I guess first things first, we should make sure she's maintained that concentration. But she only took the 4 points of damage, so I don't think it's going to be a problem.
No. Go ahead and roll 1d20 and a 1d6 for me.
Oh yeah, 23.
You're fine. Yep.
So she's got her concentration on that gravity still.
And can you see where she's at there?
Yeah.
Yeah, Danny's being flashy. Everyone else in the disco floor is like, Jesus. Ah, okay.
I would think she would take a moment and use her chakrams to try to cut those vines loose to free Arson.
Nicely done. With her chakrams and with those things wrapped around him and being stationary, and with the 15, I am going to say she successfully is able to kill at least one of those, and it releases him, but there's still going to be one remaining. And we'll say those are her attack actions to hack on that. She's still going to have a bonus action, and she'll still have movement if you would like to use it. Let me go ahead and move those off there, okay? Grasping vines. Let's get rid of... We'll keep him. Get rid of that one. And we'll move this one. Let's say over here or something like that to make more sense of it. It can still get him, but she knocked the one off of him that was wrapping him up. Okay, would you like to spend the rest of her turn? I'll give you a bonus action and let her try to slash and get rid of the other one, or would you like to do something different?
She'll try to get rid of what she can.
Okay. With the 15, I'm going to say, because they take 10 each, chakram. Do me a favor, just roll me one more 1d20, Jeremy. This will determine how good a damaging attack she gets on this last one.
13.
Okay, that'll work for me. With that, she's able to chop down the last piece. She still has her bonus action and her movement. But there's all those vines are dead, and you can see the stumps retrieving into holes in the ground where that creature was focused on them, coming up from underneath of you all. What do you think? We can just call it there if you'd like. That's fine.
Yeah, I don't know what she would use a bonus action on right away, and I know she would want to keep any kind of reaction she's got to hopefully target this thing.
That works. Okay. So, Danny, it's Arson's turn now. He has just been freed. What would you like to do with him? Roll me a 1d20 and let's see how good of stuff you can get.
Got a 16.
That's pretty good, man. That's on the upper echelon. So,
Great,
mind you, he has abilities of like the Dark Knight kind of things that he can use a bonus action to invoke and then do like Dark Paladin-like shit moves. Or he can go into doing elemental, like small elemental cantrips into monk moves. Would be a way to get your mind wrapped around it.
Oh, so he's an elemental monk.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. Is that getting more specific? Yes.
Yeah, I wonder. No, probably not. It's not like he could bend the water in the plant.
No, not at this point.
going all Avatar, like dry him out. But
are you still got the wind going?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want him to ride the wind and go up there and knock a shit out of this thing, or?
Actually, that's pretty solid. And maybe can he tie his breath weapon in?
Well, yeah, but your momentum of force is not going to make that hit more hard. That would have to be a physical thing like a charge, and I would super boost it with the wind throwing him towards it,
Well, in that case, he will do a... He's got Stunning Strike, right?
Sure.
It's like a... Yeah. Then he'll ride the wind and use a Stunning Strike.
Okay. So, that's awesome. Okay, so Arson jumps up beside you and he looks over his shoulder at you and gives you a nod, and you kind of see what his plan is as he's throwing back a fist. Around it becomes a dark energy and his eyes kind of glass over, and he jumps into the wind tunnel. You feel yourself kind of push forward and hunker down as the muscles tighten in your shoulders and controlling this moving forward. Arson goes zooming up through here, right through the middle of the wind tunnel. And when he gets right within range of the creature, he releases on that with a charged strike. I'm going to give him a damage and a half on the stunning strike. And let's see how that does. You said you rolled a 16?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me see how he does. Natural 1. You fuckers. Well, do I have anything I can... it's a natural 1, and he was using that momentum to go up through there. Because I have a hard time thinking about him being able to use this power and stun this damn thing, but it's got its mouth closed. It was in a meditative state or a concentrated state trying to burrow through us. He hit that thing with favor. It had its eyes closed, focusing on us. Shit, dude.
Did you give him his 1d10 on top of that with favor?
Yeah. When he does that and runs up through there in the force, it almost looks like the clawed hand is it goes into the creature, like almost up to the shoulder. Okay, and when it does, you can see him in the background, and as he does that, there is an explosion of gases and poison and shit that comes out over top of him, Let me see something. Which also altogether wasn't that great. Hell, Jesus, that's crazy. With the wind at his back, it starts to come up and get into his face, and he can't move his arm because he hit it so hard. And as this creature now looks like it's shutting down. Like you can see what kind of fibers, because this thing doesn't really have muscles, pray tell. This thing has different pieces of vine and stuff that are working like tendons that run all through it for strength. And you can see it start to shake and shamble, and it starts to break down as he has knocked this thing unconscious. He has stunned this creature. Okay? And as that poison cloud was getting ready to bellow out and get him, the constant wind that Finn is pushing blew it back away from him. Which is incredible in this instance. The creature is stunned and on death's door as Arson is struggling to get his arm out of the side of the creature with thorns and shit right beside where his head would be. Like his horns are actually even touching him. It sounds like deer's fighting. Like deer fighting. You know what I mean? When they're in the woods, you've got that kind of thing going on. That's going to bring it around to Finn. It's your turn again. Pretty incredible moment there. That's good stuff. What are you doing now that you saw him take the initiative and run up there and bust this thing the way he has?
It's completely stunned, huh?
You can see that it has went limp and shut down like monks do. They shut shit down. I mean, yeah, it rolled a natural 1 when it was trying to overcome that. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Is its mouth still hanging open?
No. Mouth is closed, like I said earlier. It's just the graphic I have. I don't have a picture of this thing with a closed mouth.
That changes what I was going to do. I was going to put my hand in its mouth and let a fireball go.
You could tell, I mean, you could use a free action and holler for someone to try to open it, or go up there and try to pry it open, or, I mean, do whatever you want to. Be creative.
Nah, well, I can't fireball with him standing there, and can't do that, so I'm going to give him the old 1, 2, 3 with the sword.
Okay, so you're running up there? Are you keeping concentration with the wind?
No, I'm going to let the wind go.
Okay, let me fix that. And as you do, you can see that the spores have already blown away from Arson. That would have come out of that hole that he's got plugged up with his arm now. Okay? Alright, Finn, I'm going to move you 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. You'd be right there beside Arson within attack range.
Well, he'll take damage because he can't do the DC from being in range. And then I'll give him the old 1, 2, 3 with the sword if I manage to land the first 2.
Okay, go ahead and do your damage because he's not, well, there is no movement for him. He is grounded and planted. So if you
be 13 again if it's the same as before.
13, okay. So he has a damage resistance against some of that because of his thick hide, but you do see that some of it starts to chop and get through into him. Okay? The eyelids, the spikes that are over the eyelids and stuff over his heads are fluttering like he's having some kind of waking dream, like he can't quite snap out of it, this creature. Is trying to wake back up again, but whatever energy Arson was able to pound into this thing, whatever he was able to hit is keeping it at bay currently. Okay? 13, that's a good hit.
I'm going to target one of the things sticking in the ground since I can't reach probably its main body really, even with it laying down.
Okay. Oh, you can get up into the mid-range of it. I mean, if you look at where your character is here, I'm sorry. I mean, you can chop in all in this area. Yeah, you're good.
All right, so first one is a 22 to hit.
Okay, that hits, but it does not breach. Oh no, sorry. Now in this state, you have favor on that roll.
Oh.
It is stunned.
That would be another 10 on that, so 32.
That is a breaching attack.
All right, and I'll go ahead and do all the attack rolls so we can just get them out of the way. With favor, 15, 20, 18, 29.
29 hits and breaches.
And 33 on that one.
Paint me a picture. What's it look like?
He just 1, 2, and then drives it to the hilt. And then as soon as he does, he just whips the sword out, so whatever is on it falls away, and takes a rag, cleans it off, puts it back in, and then as he starts to step all calmly, he kind of slumps a little bit. He's used over half his magic points. He's pretty wore out.
Yeah, I get it. Okay, is that aura still up around you?
It would probably, at that point, because he started to slump, it would go away.
Okay. And as all the spiritual like blades, the arcane blades that spin around you, seem to subside, and you're weary from the holding the wind and going up and the slashing into the combat. There's so many neat things that could have happened here. Each miss, you usually take damage because misses are to assume that the thorns on this thing hit you. But you guys played that smart and did not have to deal with that. The creature withers up. And here's what's weird. I want you, Danny, to roll an Arcana check for me, please. Tell me what you get.
That'd be a 22.
Okay.
Oh yeah, because I got points in that. That's why it's so high.
Yeah, okay. With a 22. When this thing withers up, and you remember looking over your shoulder and seeing this thing being able to slay Rook's shadow. Does that go? When this thing starts to fall and collapse in on itself, it doesn't make any sense that it was able to be a living thing. This is an arcanely created creature. This isn't what Enel Brookwater thought. This wasn't just some mutant of nature that came into a place because of the warm temperatures and did this. This thing was arcanely created. As it falls, it's almost like looking at vines and this weird green material. Like, it's not so much of flesh as it is kind of like the leaf matter. Falls away, the teeth seem to wilt up and dry and crack, almost like a dying branch, like put on fast speed. The tongue seems to dry up and flake away like an autumn leaf that's just aging super quick. The eyes turn almost to what looks like those little dust poofer balls you step on in the woods. It almost crack and you see those spores fly out of it. And whatever arcane power was holding this thing together has left its body and been beaten from it. And is left as a shell and a husk of things that just don't make any sense. Now, I will say that the creature, parts of it remain behind, but they have eroded and decayed to a quick degree. So if there's parts of this you want to collect, they are here, but it's almost like the difference between picking a rose and trying to transport a dried up rose petal. You'll have to be careful with the parts. The life essence of whatever was in this is gone and left the materials brittle and unmanageable, but you can collect them nonetheless. Does that make sense?
Just looking to see if there's anything I've got that will help us collect it easily.
Now, with that instance, we are out of combat. But this is a bigger place. And you know there's a lot of those little fuckers around. Plus there's more things to do here. We've only been to the northern half. We have yet to collect any of the certain kinds of mushrooms. We haven't.
I'd like to pick those blue mushrooms that are right down there in the southeast corner.
Well, do you want to just walk straight over there and begin doing that now, or do you guys want to have a conversation or anything now that the creature is slain? How do you all want to navigate this moving forward?
Do you think we can get this out to the airship? I don't think that Winona's going to do well on this price. Maybe it is worth something.
Even dried bits, I'm sure the creature could fetch something. We'll just try to pick up everything that we can.
Zara walks over and she's putting her hands into it and she kneels down and makes sure the hood's pulled back enough, and she's in her dark Iblis form. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and put us back into this for now. And as she's doing that, she's running some of the parts through her hands. And she's looking at this and she goes, I can't understand how this thing survived and came to be here. Something is unnatural about this. Don't you think, Finn?
It's definitely a construct. My guess is business enemy or a enemy of his family one.
She looks around and she goes, must be a pretty upset and bitter enemy to do something like this to such a beautiful place.
Things people will do for money and fame or revenge.
Arson has taken his arm and he's kind of shaking off the pieces of it and stuff like that. And he looks over to the rest of you. And he kind of rolls his shoulder like it got hurt a little bit, maybe a little dislocated. You can hear a little bit of cracking inside the bones and stuff like that as he holds his arm up and fixes his shoulder. He walks over through it and he kicks over one of the large thorns that's kind of dried up like a thorned husk. Okay? And kicks it over. And it almost breaks like wicker. Okay? And he gets and he looks down. And he picks up something. He looks over at you guys and he says, these are dried up mushrooms. They seem to be whatever was feeding this thing. It quite enjoyed them. And these holes in the ground. He looks around, he's looking down all the different holes this thing had poked into the natural habitat and stuff. And he goes, I can't tell how far on they go. Could be yards, could be... And he just kind of shakes his head. You know, as he sticks his hand kind of bravely down one of those holes, and as he does, Azara comes over and grabs his arm. It's like, I don't think that is a wise decision. And he looks at her and he kind of pulls his arm back up out of one of those holes. And you got to be honest, it was kind of tense for you guys too. You know, you didn't want him reaching down in one of them root holes, and you didn't know what he was going to get into there. But obviously, the one he chose, there wasn't any major issue. In the distance, you hear some of those key, 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 some of those sounds going off further to the south, and they sound frantic. You've got to imagine it must have something to do with what has happened with this mother being slain. What would you all like to do moving forward? If you want to, I can bring back up the map so you can navigate. And mind you, the map at this point is just something for you all to look at, to use as a guide. I'll group you all together and move you as a collective if you would like, or some other way, depending on how you want to work it.
I think we I think we draw it to us with the blue mushroom. I'll enlarge it.
Oh, nice. Bait. Hell yeah. Okay.
I'll cut them down. I've got a little bit left in me.
No, that's cool, man.
And for all intents and purposes, as far as Big Mamma Jam is concerned, there's absolutely nothing left.
Yeah, I mean, there's parts of it. Everything that was there before is there now, but it's a dried up, dehydrated, fragile version of what it was. Okay? So if you were like looking for something like an ivory piece for a teeth, this thing didn't have bone like a person. You know what I mean? If you're looking for some kind of dense scales or something like that, it didn't have that. These things were made up of arcanely altered plant matter, or some kind of plant that was cursed or something. This
Would
was
I
some kind of
be
perversion
able
of
to
magic in nature.
find any of its matter that might be soaked in that and like remnant of that poison cloud? Or maybe it had like a poison sac that burst or something like that.
Okay, so
My thinking there, if I got a pouch, I can take a handful of that and stuff it into.
okay, so you're looking for
maybe
maybe a
with some
collection of some of that powder that's left behind, that stuff that it would blow out and shit like that. Okay.
possibly, if nothing else, sell off as a potential work for like an antitoxin or something like that.
Okay, do
Wait,
a nature check to do this, and I have a DC in mind for you to be able to find that and do that successfully.
15.
A 15, you're able to find a small amount of it underneath some of the root legging like pieces that you feel has dropped out of the outer torso of this thing after it collapsed. When you pull back some of the thick, like leaf-like material that was coating the body, and you move it back, you see a bunch of dried up, like almost like grapevines that are all curled and stuff that made up like tendons that were controlling it. In a fine blue and green powder seems to be laying in some pockets of that creature that didn't get expelled by either the wind or something else, or has already gotten to the grass and to the soil. So you were able to find, I would say, at least 2 cups, measuring cups worth of this substance. Enough to probably fill up like almost like a beer can, but not quite. Okay. Now, what kind of receptacle did you have to put this in?
It's like a pouch.
Okay. I would like for you, as you're doing this, I want you to roll me a sleight of hand check, please.
12.
Okay. This is fun. And you guys watch this happen.
If there's any kind of kickback, just remember he did have his scarf up over his nose from when that thing put out the poison cloud first.
That's fine. But 12 tells me
Just
what
in case something under there decides to go pop.
No, 12 tells me what it needs to tell me. So as you're doing this, at first you don't notice it so much. And then you hear the wind blowing off the mountain. And you know how I was saying that the wind every once in a while would hit the outside of this aura and turn into a mist and rain up above you?
Yep.
You start looking up and you're fixating on that. And all of a sudden those steam clouds that are forming and the humidity inside this place seems to get some kind of strange motion to it. And you start to see a face appear from the shapes of the humid clouds that are made inside of this. And it looks to be the shape, and at first you're not quite sure that is it your imagination? What is this? And as it starts to move and roll around and bellow and shift back and forth, you can swear that you hear the sound of an airship floating through the skies. The wind wishing around your ears and stuff, and you believe that might be a remnant of Danny's character casting that wind spell earlier. And all these things are starting to weigh on your mind. And as you're looking up there, you look back in the deep pockets where the eyes would be start to form, and the rigid cheekbones and the large forehead starts to form up and stuff, and you realize that you're looking at the face of your father up into this cloud bank. And as it looks at you, its mouth begins to open up. And it starts to come down, and as it opens up, you hear this loud, oh. And as that happens, you begin to cover yourself up, as if something is coming down upon you and is trying to begin to eat you. Okay? You guys see this. Finn, you would see Jeremy's character Rook as he's staring up and stuff, and he's looking at this, and he's filling up that receptacle full of that powder. You see it just kind of tumble out of his hands. Still in there, he was able to get it closed. But it tumbles out and hits the ground, and just as soon as you look over to see if he's okay, his head has stretched up to look, which has uncovered his nose and his top lip. And he has a very frightful look in his eyes. And he begins to hunker down. And you're looking up at the clouds ahead of him, and there's nothing to it.
I'll stab him with that needle potion that Winona gave us.
Okay, do a medicine check.
So what we're saying is this isn't a Simba. Remember who you are.
Yeah.
14. I'm not proficient, so I can't really add anything into it.
Okay. With a 14, you're able to administer the drug. Okay, and as that happens, you feel a stinging bite into your right arm, we'll say. Jeremy, Danny, is that maybe where... is there any particular place you wanted to put it other than that? Okay. And as that happens, it takes a minute for it to take effect, but the wind and the face come over and completely encompass you. Jeremy drops down into the prone position. It is a feared state.
I'd almost feel like I need to complicate that just a little bit.
Please do, go ahead.
I took the tough skin feat. So I almost wonder if you wouldn't have a little harder time jabbing me with that.
Well, you were tense too because of this thing coming down on top of you. So, let's get creative.
Gotta take good with the bad.
Right, so, I'm doing 2 dice rolls. Okay? I'm doing a 1d20 that represents the potency of the spores and things that were able to escape this, that after handling it and digging around the piece and stuff were able to work their way into your system somehow with your 12 earlier. And then I'm going to roll 2d20, but I'm going to roll it with ill favor, so it's just going to be a 110, and that has to overcome because of your thick skin. So the odds are against you that this is going to help you immediately, but there's a chance. The 1d20 roll will be first. This represents the potency of what you've inhaled. That's only a 9.
Not bad. I am quite the constitution.
Right. So you have to roll a 1d10. Let's see. Well, no, that's really... Let me see how I do this. This is for the medicine to take effect. I don't know if you're even in this roll or not. I think this is a roll to determine how much of it gets through because of your thick skin. Let me roll it. This will be this. Eight. It's close, but it's going to take some time to work. You are going to be trippy for a bit, sir. Okay? So, it fends off that first burst of that, kind of works on your adrenaline, and all of a sudden you look around yourself and realize that the face has resided. But as you're looking around in the bushes, and the wind shakes them, you start to see images forming out of them, but you kind of shake it off. And when you look at the other people talking and stuff like that, you start to get weirded out by their facial expressions and their words, and it's messing with you. When you see Azara and her horns and stuff like that, you start seeing her changing into the different people that you've seen her change into from now and then. You can't focus on her. So I'm going to let you function normally, but you're going to have ill favor on ability checks and things of that nature, and I want you to act accordingly.
Does that come with a boonie hat and some sunglasses and a long cigarette? Or at one point I say, we can't stop here. This is backcountry.
Yeah, absolutely it does. Absolutely it does. Okay? Backcountry all day. So, Finn, with your attempt, Rook, if there's anything you want to say to Finn for stabbing in your arm with that, you know what that stuff was. If you want to have a conversation, now is the time to do so, and then continue forward with this in whatever fashion you guys would like to.
I think at this moment he'd be a little on the befuddled side. I don't think
Absolutely.
he can really muster to say much.
Okay, you see Rook pretty much go into his own little personal space. Finn, you know he's battling with this shit. Were you still wanting to scan the area and collect those mushrooms and try to bait out the smaller ones?
I think so, but I ask Arson and Azara if they're comfortable hunting them down while I watch him.
She looks over at him and looks at you, and she takes a solemn moment and then looks at Arson again and nods. Says that would probably be best. We can manage to search here for as long as we can. If we're surprised or startled by anything, we'll cry out for you. We'll let you know.
Be very loud.
Where will you be going? Are you staying here with him for now, or are you? And she looks to the south where those
He says, yes, I will be staying with him. And as he does, he lays his hand and he mumbles something and casts sleep on Rook.
Nice. You roll your DC, and Rook will roll with ill favor.
That would be 24.
Okay, you're just rolling a 1d10 plus your bonuses, bud. What do you get?
Which bonuses? Because last I knew, sleep was based on total HP. I don't know how we do sleep in this game.
I'm just doing the Constitution.
Oh, okay. So D10 plus Constitution.
Yeah.
Basically saving throw.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you can do. I'll let you choose Constitution or Wisdom.
If I go Constitution, we're looking at a 14.
I can't outdo what he did, especially with ill favor. You being all messed up currently. The darkness takes over, and since you were already kind of fallen prone in that position, it completes, and you feel yourself drift off into deep sleep and have weird, funky dreams, sir. Weird, funky dreams.
He would actually sit down in, not quite. So basically he's kneeling on both knees, sitting on his feet, puts his sword in front of him in his lap, and would actually be like, I will be here guarding him. And he enters trance. So he can still know what's going on, but he can rest up and get some magic points back.
Okay. So, here's what we can do moving forward. Now, I know, like we were saying earlier, we're thrown into a weird situation where there weren't many people here for this one and whatnot. So, I know that you're kind of taking a break here and doing this and giving him time to come out of this and stuff. I don't want to continue this on with two characters that aren't here.
I got it.
So they're going through and they're searching through stuff. We can either fast forward and get to a point if you guys want to continue this on for a bit, or do you want to call it here and wait for everybody else to get back in to complete this? How do you guys want me to proceed with this? What's going to be fun for you?
I would say
Fast.
fast forward. I really don't want them to wind up in some sort of combat without us there.
Right. I agree.
You know,
I
we
agree.
try to run them, and then we get them killed, and then we're hated, and it's just a bad day all around.
I get it. I get it. Okay. So, what that does is in this kind of situation, which is, I mean, I don't know if I want to call it unfortunate or not, but as time goes by, it was pretty early morning when we came in here, wasn't it? Okay.
Yeah, we basically came this direction like first thing.
Okay. So darkness hasn't fallen yet. Okay. But after some time, now with this sleep spell, is that something where you're going to? What's the duration of that, Finn? How long can you hold that over him?
Well, I actually kind of figured if he went to sleep, being that he was drugged up, he would probably go. Duration's only 1 minute.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But the idea was to get him out so that the drugs would not be so effective on him. Give the medicine time to work.
Oh, so you mean so they could be more effective?
Yeah, so basically as
Okay.
he's because most likely it would knock him out for a good while. And then, because he's already like if you put a drunk to sleep, he's not going to wake back up.
Right. Okay.
Um,
So we'll say that was the catalyst, and I'm going to roll something here. Okay. So for a half an hour, Rook rests. And you can see his eyes flutter and kick back and forth and things of that nature and stuff. And after about that half hour of time, you realize you have no control over the sleep anymore. It just started the process. You see that his unrestful sleep begins to dampen, lessen. It becomes more passive. You believe that's a sign that this has passed after roughly a half hour. Having said that, how would you like to go about waking him up, or what would you like to do at this point?
10 minutes, and then he just says, Rook.
Okay, Rook, I'll let you act accordingly. You hear that voice from the darkness of your mind. And as your eyes open up again, you find yourself, you have a very strange taste in your mouth. It's very potent, like ammonia-like taste. And you feel that your eyes are blurred to a degree, and you feel very groggy. But you no longer feel as confused as you did, just a short while ago. What are you doing to the sound of Finn's voice?
I took it upon myself to roll a charisma check just to see if I'd be spooked awake or if I would wake with some degree of faculty to me.
Yeah.
And I rolled a 15.
Okay.
So he doesn't, jump or anything like that. I would think that he's laying there and he would just open his eyes. And the first thing he would do is would fix his eyes where he last remembered seeing that cloud, basically.
You look up and that cloud is no longer there. Almost all the clouds have now formed down to the southern half of this area, and they are no longer above you as you're looking up and seeing the snow drift off of the mountain high up and get caught into the winds and blow across from one peak to another.
With that, he would kind of dart his eyes around immediately before trying to sit up and kind of feeling everything out, make sure everything's all right.
You see that container holding that blue green spore like powder inside with the lid on it, sitting over there about 2 foot away from your feet where you fell.
Don't look over at it. Look up at Finn. I think that powder is going to be quite important.
It's a solid chance Winona will take it as her price.
Hopefully, she can do something good with it.
Yeah.
He holds-
Whatever that was, whatever effect it had, I don't scare easily. And that shook me to my core.
I had to put you to sleep.
I'm glad you did.
In that moment, Danny, I want you to roll for a 1d20 and a 1d4 for arson. And Jeremy, I want you to roll 1d20 and a 1d6 for Azara. And see how their harvesting has come along.
He's got a 19 and a 2, so it's 21 total.
That's great. How did
14.
14 total? So together both of those, that's averaging above 15. Easy because of arson. They're able to find one cluster, and we'll say it was the cluster that was down here. While you guys were dealing with this, they were walking along, and Danny, you were able to see them, or Finn, you were able to see them every once in a while down below the main wall. And they were able to come up with one bundle of these blue mushrooms. The smell of them is potent. There's an odd, funky, sweet kind of smell that comes off of them. And you'll notice that Azara says, careful with them. They are sticky on the bottom, although I would dare not taste what this is. And they seem to be very frail, as these ones were a little bit older than some of the... We saw places where they had been eaten off. And these were the only ones that were manageable and left. And she has contained one bundle of them. Okay? Or the both of them have collectively together. Now, what does the group want to do moving forward?
We go hunt down the rest, or can we assume that they'll die off now that the brood leader's over?
They seem to be seeds, so I say we enlarge this mushroom and its smell and draw them to us.
Very well.
Arson asks, where do you wish to draw them out to? Where are we positioning ourselves?
I kind of like maybe where we came across the bridge earlier, where we had the gate, where we can limit them coming across.
So you're
So if you-
thinking right here?
Yeah, so they've either got to come through the gate where we can pin them down, or they have to come around the bridge if they come through the. So one way or another, we should be able to limit their entry and exit points and be able to flank them, like we did once before.
Okay. So, Rook, do you agree with this plan?
I'm for it.
Okay. So, how is it you wanted to do? You said you're going to cast something on the mushroom to make it grow?
Enlarge spell.
Okay, and what does that do? Double or like what proportionally does that do as far as, if I say how much bigger is this mushroom than what it initially was?
When used on a
What's the
human,
multiplier?
I think when used on a humanoid, it just brings them to the next size larger.
Doubles in all dimensions,
Okay.
and its weight is multiplied by 8.
Whew.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, that's impressive.
Growth increases its size one category from medium to large. For example, if there isn't enough room, so So maybe we need a pile of mushrooms. We'll put some, cut some of the red ones and put them there, and I'll enlarge the whole pile.
Okay. So I'll say this takes you guys about another half hour to muster up the time to do to make this happen. Okay. And every once in a while you'll hear a faint key from the distance. And you'll notice
How'd that sound go again, Brian?
key, key, something like that. Remember it because it's important. And as you guys keep gazing down, you see all kinds of different barrels and flasks that could or may not be full of things. You're seeing the fog get denser down towards the bottom of this place. And then you see like what seems to be the beginnings of some kind of small hedge like maze like area. You're not high up enough where you're at to see down on top of this place right down here, but you can see this is like a decorated 5 foot tall like hedge like labyrinth made area, and the sounds seem to be coming from within it.
Oh, awesome.
As you all are making your bundle of mushrooms up to the north, every once in a while it's almost like watching a bobber in the water. Okay, first off, just for the hell of it, give me a nature check. Finn, you're the one that's pretty much. Well, first, give me an Arcana. I want to see how well you're able to cast this, and if this whole thing works. You do Arcana, and I'll have Rook do Nature, and that's going to tell me how well this grouping of mushrooms is going to be, how well it's cut, how fragrant, and your selection in doing this.
28 for Arcana. He's pretty
That's
awesome.
really
Nature
good.
19.
Really? Natural 19?
Yep. Or no, it's natural 16.
Well, I mean, but
Plus
okay,
3.
great. Okay, so I'll say the pile you guys have created is right around here, just real close to where the shadow of the statue would be. Okay, in this area, in this location. All right. How are you guys watching to see if this baits itself? Are you guys hiding behind walls and looking at this, just trying to see what happens?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would position myself like maybe to the right and on the other side of the wall so that I could flank or maybe get, you know, maybe one of us could hide on top of the wall behind the statue, something like that. Yeah,
Okay,
that
is that what you're thinking, Rook?
Yeah, I'm more or less following Finn's lead.
Okay. And
we'll get
in this
arson
instance, go ahead, Danny.
to run up the middle and Azara to, hit it from the side or hit it with gravity to pin down its explosions.
Okay. So I fade you guys off a little bit because you are hiding with cover. And as you've done this, every once in a while, and you watch that line in the distance, as you look through the different shrubberies and different pieces of grass around here, and you watch the outer edge of this thing, every once in a while you'll see something kind of stir in it that's unnatural. Every once in a while you'll see, maybe you caught a glimpse of something peeking out, maybe you didn't, you're not quite sure. Okay? And then from the side, something finally emerges. It's just too tempting. And you guys see a seedling hop out through the dense fog on the side. Let me go to this here. Okay. And as it does, it hops out and it starts hopping around and exploring and looking at you with hesitation and looking over in that direction. Still concealed by a bit of the fog, not quite comfortable coming all the way out of it. It hops around back and forth, and as soon as it goes to cross this passageway right here, you hear a bunch of little chirps come from the line, the entranceway to the grove to the south. And you hear one that's a little bit deeper and raspier. You recognize this as probably one of those ones that's a little bit bigger, one that had the blue flower on its head. And it sounds like they're actually sounds like they're talking to one another. Like they're communicating somehow. Right? And it kind of whimpers and it looks in your direction longingly up into the corner where there's this pile of mushrooms and the smell just seems to be overbearing. And then it takes a few steps back this way. It looks up again. And eventually you hear that deeper kind of sound, that key sound, but it's a little bit more sinister, a little bit deeper tone. And it finally wanders down here like a whipped puppy. Goes into this area. And here's the thing that really messes with you. The second it gets within range of these hedges, you see two vine-like tentacles reach out and lash out and grab onto the creature. You see a shake or two of what you can see is one of them big blue flowers comes up over the side and it eats the seedling. Vines come out and it grab it up and it starts whimpering and shaking and the little feet are kicking and you can see the teeth emerge from the edge of the shrub. And it opens up its mouth and bites onto the creature and gets it down in two chunks and then disappears back into the hedge, eating its own kind. What do you do? What do you guys do?
Well, why don't you two guard the mushrooms in the body? Rook and I will go in. Figure that'll make it easier so we don't have to play other characters.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. Right, but yeah, it's cool. And Rook, what are you thinking about this option?
I'm perfectly fine with it. I think between me and Finn, we can get some work done.
Okay. All right. So, real quick, what we're going to do is we're going to take our first and only break of the night, and get this going. And when we come back, these guys are going to dive down into this place. You guys did very well. The rolls were just really good in their favor. So it kind of had to be what it had to be. But there's still more to be collected. There's still things to do if you're wanting to collect enough blue mushrooms to take back and get that extra bit of prize. Or not. You know what I mean? It's up to you all. Lots of different things that could still be here in clues as to how these creatures are made. But very, very good attempt. It just the rolls didn't work out. Okay? So we'll go ahead and pause this now, and we'll be back in just a moment. And we are back on, I believe. Yes, we're recording. Good deal. Okay. So everyone's had a chance to fill drinks, unfill bladders, all that good kind of stuff. And we are back with these fellas. And they have been discussing how they want to move forward. They were wanting to draw these bad boys out so they could explore this place free of charge. No escort required. And had a damn good plan. But one of these mid-level bosses, one of these blue flower-headed motherfuckers, has decided it's like, no, 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 you don't go out there, and ate one of its own kind right in front of them. Well, not right in front of them, but you get the picture. So Finn and Rook have decided to move forward and explore. And what was the goal of the other two back here while you guys were going forward? What did you want them to do just for role-playing purposes? You want them to search some more?
Just to collect, because they got the one blue mushroom over there that was just south of us, but
Yeah.
maybe start taking some of the corpse out so that we'll be able to transport it.
Okay. Be funny if they both fucked up their nature checks and you came back and they were both like just tripping balls, like up there, just like paint each other faces, like, you know what I mean? Just absolutely losing their shit. It's like, oh, they got into the E.
It'd be really great too if that happens. Then we're absolutely stopping right there, and when they come back to play, they've got to jump into their characters, tripping balls, painting each other.
We may have to just tell them that shit anyway, Danny, just because it's too funny, just to see how they react. And I can tell you right now, Azara is one of them bongo playing fuckers. I can tell you right now, that's what she's doing. She'd be getting the bongos out and
you can put your weed in it.
Oh yeah, right on. It's groovy. Kind of like that one long-haired Muppet. The one chick that was hoisting the Muppets is always like, yeah, you know. So, as funny as that is, gentlemen, where would you like to go? And so I'll lay out and show you what you're looking at here, boys. Okay, you see, you've got the Brookwater statue that is obviously the source of this eternal spring in this place. You see the mist gets heavier and forms to the south. You've got more small statues of shadows. And then you've got your entrance into this small, not huge, it's not any bigger than the top part that you've already seen, but this is like a little bit of a short labyrinth. What's cool is these shrubs are only 5 foot tall. You are not going to get lost in this fucking thing.
I'll say we go straight for the bushes that thing came out of. Let's make sure there's none over there before we get ourselves in the other place.
Okay, so what happened is it reached out through this shrub here.
Right, but we seen it come out from bushes like through the fog.
Oh, that one was over here.
Okay.
In this corner.
Yeah, let's rattle that corner, and then that should have us clear down to just the maze.
Okay.
We know something came out of there, so there might be more.
Right. Point made. Rook, you good with this plan, or you want to do something different?
Oh, I'm down for it.
Okay.
Although I suggest that we cut behind the statue.
I like it. Like diagonal.
So.
Because I worry if we get too close to the southern hedges, that thing will be able to smell us like the last one did.
I like it.
So, I will lead with Finn. Because I don't want to move you both to say, well, you know what? I can move the group at once. Let me make Arson and them invisible, and I'll just move you two together as the entire group.
You guys got me thinking. I think I'm going to step out of my comfort zone next time we do new characters. I'm going to play a stoner bard.
I mean, yeah.
Just, why are you always playing music? Because it seems like the right thing to do, man.
Right, man. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to move you guys down. Or you want to go along this statue ridge here?
Behind it.
Behind it. I'm with you. Okay, let's do that then.
And while we're walking behind it, I kind of want to look at the statue.
Yeah.
See if it's got like a switch or something.
Oh, interesting.
Something powering that enchantment.
That's cool.
And Rook's head, like, I just had that tripping incident, and we got all these little fuckers. And he's just thinking, worst case scenario, we hit the switch, we turn the bitch off, and we'll just freeze them out.
Okay, so, fucking yeah, that's a cool idea.
Might be a purge of the entirety of the fucking garden, but
that would be a result of it. Yeah, that would make Enel super happy.
Sometimes you just got to burn down the house to get rid of the spiders, you know.
Hey, if you say so. I mean, right? So, when you're there, roll I'll let you guys either choose for perception or arcana.
I'll do perception. That's something I'm good at.
Go with Arcana.
Okay, go ahead.
21.
21.
Get that old +6.
No joke.
19 for Arcana.
What is it?
19 for Arcana.
Man,
I
you
thought you
guys are
said
rolling
8.
good. So, neither one of you have seen anything quite like this before. Okay, there are no stories that you, even from your neck of the woods, Finn, have come across anything quite like this. There's old tales of the different forms of Terra when she walked through the wilderness over and in the lands of the Lunestes. Okay, that when she would walk through an area, it would have an effect like this for a while, where it would make an eternal springtime-like grove in the wake of her travels.
Ooh, does he think it might be a halfling shrine?
You guys both definitely think it's the shrine of the halfling in the middle of that platform, yes.
But I mean, like, because he's experienced with actual shrines.
Yes. So this is not.
Okay, so it's nothing based like that.
No, it's not that kind of. It is a modern day made shrine.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. With a very unique and amazing power that depicts what could be someone related to Enel, Brookwater. But the origins of how this has come to have this power are not apparent to either one of you, even with very high rolls. Now, that's something that you could ask around about once you get some of this as maybe a favor, if you want the information to it. But as far as an on-off switch, you don't see any moving parts, but you do see a couple different dried up herbs and like rose petals and things like that around the bottom of the base with those kind of rolls. And you can see the basket that it holds on its shoulder has some contained ingredients in it, almost like an incense burner, if you will. Okay. And its amount is it's drying up. If this was a plant, it hadn't been watered in a while. If this is a stove, there hasn't been wood put on the fire in quite a while. That might be part of its function. So if you're thinking about shutting it off, emptying that basket of its ingredients or components would be your best guess with those rolls. But that's the best you can make out of it.
Ben says, let's use that as a last resort. Let's see if we can. And let's see if we can clear it first. And then if we can't, like you said, we'll burn the house down to get rid of the spiders. But as we're walking, he actually would talk to you about maybe coming to visit his homeland. Remember the last time we talked, he found out that you were some stuff with the Banshee, and you being able to, communicate and things of that nature, which gives him a idea that if it's possible for you to rescue that one, maybe a whole bunch of other elf maids.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So
as you're walking through these lily pads over here, I want you to do a perception check, Rook, as Finn is talking to you about this proposition and thinking about things as he's studying the basket. I want you to do a perception roll. Rook, tell me what you get.
14.
When you move over some of the lily pads and you're moving them out of your way to wade through the water, all of a sudden something comes bobbing up from behind you from the water. And you're almost ready to fight. You see kind of that weird plant-like matter gray skin, you see what looks like a seedling under the water. But when you do this, you realize it was incomplete. And it bobs up in the water. Now that you've moved the stems and the root system from these lily pads, it comes up back first, and it slowly rolls like this in the water, and you start to see an open gate mouth, and you see a couple minnows swim out of its mouth real quick, and its mouth, and it starts to roll open as it rolls like this in the water, with the heaviest part of it sinking naturally. And it just bobs in the water with an open dead mouth, its eyes glazed over, not fully developed. And from the tail of it, you can see like an umbilical cord looking piece connected to it and running down through the water. Then, when you look at that, you see that there are dozens more. They're stuck down beneath the water, underneath the debris, and tied into the roots of the lily pad system. It's almost like this was a nest where these things were being conceived in these root systems. You don't know what they connect to. Maybe it was the big mother one. Maybe it running those vines and things down through the ground, or were like umbilical cords or something. Or maybe there's something else growing these here. But this seems like a place where maybe some of these were hatched from. It's very strange. But you do notice that as you go through the water and dislodge some of the living organisms here and some of the plant growth. Does anyone else have any? Do you have any questions about that, or anything else you want to further look into, or do you want to move forward?
Toss a couple of those up on the bank, cut them loose on the umbilical cord.
Okay. Go ahead and do me a nature check, please, Finn. And Rook, are you doing the same? Are you following suit?
18.
18. You are? Or not?
I don't want to.
Well, don't. I can't, Not everybody's got the balls that Finn does. Finn.
Well, because
Well,
my
just say you stand there
thinking is, so these things are in the water.
Mhm.
Like, do they look like they might have just been chucked in here? Or do they look like they're actively developing in the water?
They look like they were actively developing, but it got cut short. Like something stopped their progress.
I think as Finn goes to reach to start like cutting the umbilical cord and throwing some on the bank, I'm gonna put a hand on his shoulder. And what would have been in this water that was breeding these things that suddenly stopped? And why?
Well, if you want to piss a mom off, slap her baby around. We'll find out. I'd still like to draw it to us. Let us choose the battleground.
True.
Okay.
There's something in the water. Getting it out of the water might put it at a disadvantage.
So when you cut these husks off down low, these umbilical cord-like connections that go down into the silt and muck underneath the end of this, you notice they all do somewhat pull and anchor to a opening underneath of this rock face here. All things point that these were somehow connected to the creature that you killed that was up here in the middle of this pedestal. And as you're cutting those loose and things like that, Finn, as you are doing that, Rook, what was your perception roll again?
A 14.
14. You can't quite be sure, but it seems too closely related to not to just be a coincidence. So not only was this thing hatching saplings off of its body, but it seemed to be growing these things in like this kind of like tadpole-like state under the water, and they had like nutrients running to them to develop them from its own body. And when it got ripped up from the ground, possibly by Azara, it severed a connection with these before they had a chance to be able to develop. The gravity of that starts to kind of hit you, literally the gravity, because that's what Azara did.
Nice.
You don't see anything else. I know, right? Once in a lifetime kind of chancer. So you don't see anything else stirring in the water currently. But these, now that you're messing with these lily pads and these bodies are bobbing up, and they all do the same thing. It's like they've got a little bit of that gas in them, that explosive gas in them. And when they kind of roll over, their mouths are open agape and their eyes are all clouded over like a dead fish. And when they roll over like that, it's the creepiest looking thing because the weight of their body goes down in the opening of their mouth. And then all of a sudden, water will start to seep in, and then they'll sink down a little bit into the water once they do that. It's a very gruesome kind of sight. And you can see some of those spores coming from those pieces that you're cutting. And if it weren't for that water, you guys would be tripping balls. I suggest you don't drink it.
No intentions of it.
just go down there and just give it a motorboat, you know? Just get down there and have you some fun. Get you a little.
Well, they should up the take.
What's that?
A few more of these bodies will maybe be good for Winona, but we can clear the rest of it later. I say we keep going.
Okay. Do you want to continue? You've got different options here. You got a little ledge here. It steps up about 1.5 feet to like a kind of a higher elevated spot. And then you can walk down to that bush along the edge. You can cut right across the middle here. However you want to do it. I don't want to overcomplicate this. However you want to go about it, guys. Are you moving stealthily or not? Let me know.
Hopefully, by all means, we have to have the high ground.
Oh, Anakin, I'm on the. I know. Okay. So,
I'll be like, hello there.
yes. Put you guys over here. I will say that you were able to cut loose the carcasses of 5 of those creatures and lay them along the bank here in this area, okay? Okay. As you head over to the side, you look over here and you see some vases, because I like making up words. Probably is a cluster of vase. It's like deer, you know. You say vase, it means multiple, right? So
Yeah.
a rick of vase lay before you on these stones. And these stones in here, you know, upon closer examination, these have been ground down and shaped in here. This is landscaping at its finest. The halflings that have handcrafted and put these things here, it looks natural, but it is not. Okay, this is some really neat kind of stuff. And they're laying here. You can't tell if they're full. These tall ones are corked, but the pitcher in the middle, you see a couple gnats and things swarming around it as you walk up closer and stirring the air, making you think it maybe something has spoiled that was in the pitcher. Okay? But the 2 bottles to the left and right are corked currently. What are you guys doing? What are you doing, Stuart?
Could I go and uncork one of those bottles?
Of course you could. Of course you could.
I'm curious if it just so happens to be that wine that they like.
What wine are you speaking about?
The one that's got the mushroom fermented in it.
Mm-hmm. You mean the one that you tried at the
Yes.
place? Okay.
Worst case scenario, got that. I can just lob it out. With any luck, it's a high enough alcohol content to be flammable.
Yes. So,
Roasted mushroom water.
Yes. So I have a 1d6 here. And I have a formula for telling if this is the good stuff or not. If I roll 6, it's the good stuff. If I roll a 1, it's the bad stuff, and everything in between is going up towards the best stuff possible. Okay? 6 different ages of this stuff that they go through. What they give you a sample of in the place is a 6. As you go up and you look at the first one, do you uncork it?
Yes. Yeah, I want to get a good smell of it just to make sure.
As you do, you can tell that there's been pressure building inside here as the development of alcohol was not stopped on this one. Okay? And it does have a strong smell. This smells like excellent stuff. Barely a step down from the finest stuff that you had in the place the other day.
Wonderful.
So this one was a 5.
Beautiful.
And this is a very, very good example of it. And you have one other one over to the side. And as you can see in the picture here, that maybe is where they had picked some of these mushrooms and a collection of the different berries that are throughout this place. Some different pieces of orange peel and coriander and spices are in there. Now, it has long since rotted because it was not kept out of from exposure. So it's evaporated and worked its way down. But even with that foul smell of that fruit that's been in that, and there's that berry combination, that wine is divine. Now, you have another bottle as well. Would you like to check it too, or Finn, do you want to step up and give it a shot?
I don't drink on the job.
Right. What you got there in your hand, bud?
I'm not working.
Right. Jeremy, how about you? What do you want? Do you want to leave it be, or do you want to inspect?
I think we'll leave it be. Because one bottle is probably already expensive enough, and he's probably going to be pretty shitty if this one winds up getting used. So I'm calling it consequence of the job.
Okay. So what are you doing with the bottle that seems to be pretty good shit?
I'm going to keep a hold of it.
Okay, you recorking it?
Yep.
Okay. All right, what direction you guys headed now?
Straight south.
Okay. So we'll do this for a few more minutes, and we'll have to call it a night. It's already after 10. So we'll get into the southern regions here, and then we're going to have to call it quits. I'm at the office, so I got to drive home. So, as you guys go forward stealthily, I'd like for you to roll stealth for me and let me know what it is, both of you.
14.
Okay, and Danny, what'd Finn get?
I'm not proficient, so do you add your dex if you're not proficient?
Are you proficient in dexterity?
Yes or no? No, I am not.
Well, then you do not. You
Seven,
add your dexterity, just not your proficiency bonus.
22 total.
You are the knight. So, collectively, as you walk up and you get eerily close to this large set of bushes here, you notice and you can see the opening, almost like if you were walking through the woods, Danny, and you saw where quails were nesting. Okay? I'm speaking to the hunter that is Danny McGuffey, everyone. You see that kind of burrowed out hole in this bush where that seedling had been nesting and waiting. Okay? You also can see one of those same kind of umbilical cord like husks dried up, but this one had fully developed. So this is where it was born from. So there's some kind of underground network of something that was doing this possibly. You can make of that what you will. But as you walk past that, you don't get any other kind of oh, hold on. And your stealth was that? Let me see. Okay. As you're looking in there, into that hole and you're looking at that husk and you realize you're so close to the brush. It dawns on you can't. There's no way that there was only one of these in here. And as you tense and it gets quiet, and you start to peer and try to look between the different pieces of foliage, trying to see if there's any kind of shape move, anything that seems to have the silhouette or structure of one of these things. All of a sudden, a rabbit darts out that's been hiding, feeling that you were getting too close to it. I want you both to do charisma saving throws for me, so you don't piss your pants.
13.
Okay, 13, both of you? That's awesome. 15 was the number.
But
Has like daggers in his hand, like, whoa, you know. And I
I
want you
scoop you
guys.
do it.
I want you guys to describe to me how it looks like when you were just getting ready to take down a hare.
I'd say that Finn is already like his eyes were glowing and energy was forming around his hand, and he's like, "It's just a rabbit."
Right on. Rook, how about you? What was your death dealing of the rabbit choice? What were you getting ready to
Immediately
do?
popping an echo.
You know what? I got you. And the echo. That's
Very,
too
very
funny.
quiet.
Yeah. And Rook 2 just pops out of nowhere. Just like right beside you and manifests. Finn, anything to say about that? Nothing? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. Which way would you guys like to continue as you progress along the edge and down this route? You've got a little walkway here that would take you down off of the raised level.
Yeah.
And it seems as if there are some of those blue caps laying over here in this corner. And then you start with the actual shrubberies that make up this kind of halfling, like decorative maze that leads into the deeper southern half of this place.
You say we leave the blue caps till we come back out, so they're not broken in the fight.
Cool.
Okay. In what direction would you like to take? Just hugging the line and going to the main entrance, or do you want to jump over top of the shrubbery here and go that direction? How would you like to proceed downward?
So we go to that just to that wall to the right of that entrance, keeping kind of a low profile in the fog.
Oh, like right here?
Yeah. Just going just to the edge of the fog where we're still obscured a little bit and kind of peeking over.
Down into it. Oh, smart. I get it. Yeah, because you both can see down into that once you get up to that point. Okay. Rook, you or Finn, you good with this idea?
I am. I asked him if he'd like to be a little taller to look a little better.
You would see quite the smile on Rook's face.
You keep your echo out.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I cast enlarge on him for the duration of the spell, which is up to a minute. You're doubled in size. You go up one size category.
Well, we can do that.
You are 8 times heavier. You have advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws. And because your weapons grow to meet your size, they deal an extra 1d4 damage.
Just a minute. Yep, that works. Rook's big. All right. So, Rook walks up to the edge with Finn following suit, and now the dynamic is evident. As far as the size that Rook has grown to, like his forefathers before him. For the sake of argument, Rook, does your echo grow in size with you?
I mean, I summoned it when I was regular size.
Yeah.
So I would say, hey, worst case scenario, I just pop it out, pop another one back in that's matching me now.
Right on. That's cool. That's
It's
cool.
not, it doesn't cost me anything to do. So
Okay. As you stand there,
I just look at my echo like you do with a phone. I just look at him and I go, kind of like he's zooming in on a phone.
as you stand there, right, and gaze down into this area, you see, just a minute. Let me see if I've got this right. A seedling hopping around down low in the far edge of this small maze. At that point, the fog starts to get too deep, and you also see a stack of barrels just barely in the distance that seem to be peeking over the line of the shrubs. Now that you're that tall, you can see that. But you can't see any further than that point because of how dense the fog becomes. And this thing here just seems to be wandering and looking around and just making weird little noises, not doing anything, not really caring about you so much. What are you guys doing?
You still have
That's tense. Jesus.
you still have your wind ready.
Yes.
It may come in handy.
I can't maintain your size and do it at the same time, though.
That's fine. I have an idea. We'll just need to get closer. And I think if we can dispatch that little one as quickly as possible, that'll put us in a great position.
Okay. So, what's the plan? Get her. Like Ghostbusters. Your plan was get her. Right?
So, how far away is that little one from me right now?
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45 to 50 foot.
And this fog is pretty obscuring, right?
Yeah, it gets real dense at that point.
Because I want to go fee fi fo fum and then look around and be like, oh, I could see you.
Right. So, how are you wanting to go about this now?
And would you say that I'm tall enough to just step over the hedge?
Yes.
All right, so
Rolling stealth because this thing can still sense you guys. It seems to be somewhat preoccupied at the moment, and it can't see up above, but now that you're big enough to see down to it, it could also possibly turn and see up to you if you're not careful.
this is
One,
16.
you need a Mexican soccer announcer right now because this is going to be awesome when he punts this thing.
Okay. So you said you got a 16?
Yeah.
Okay. Just a minute. Natural 17 on the dice. When you step over, sir, Giant rook. Fee, fi. And you go over the edge there. That thing turns around like it stops for a minute. It turns around and you can see the little nose holes open on its head. You know what I mean? Kind of like the racing light at the drag strip where the lights just kind of go up in that row. And all those little beady little black and red eyes just kind of focus over in your direction through the fog. And you can see it open its mouth up for just a minute, and you're stuck in suspense. Right? It's not screaming yet. Oh my God! Its mouth is opening abnormally big. If you can beat a dexterity check of 20 or higher, I will let you attempt to get some kind of shot off on this thing before it screams out, "Kiki!" like crazy. You are stuck in that moment where it's turning around and it's seeing you. It's like, ha! It's getting ready to go down, right? So, because of its step, and the reason I'm doing that, the dice are telling the story. You only lost to it by one, so I'm going to give you this chance. Matter of fact, we can either do it that way or we can just roll for initiative with this one if that's how you want to play it. You want to keep this singular, or what do you want to do?
Let's
Singular.
keep it singular.
Okay. Roll for initiative. You guys got group initiative? Do you have a plan, or are you doing all for all, all for one?
Is this thing small or medium?
This thing is small.
Okay, my plan is to step on it as a large creature.
Weren't you a large creature before?
Not technically, but the strength of a large creature. Well, no, he's not.
Well,
He's
I had
actually not very
powerful
strong.
build, I think. So
Yeah.
I counted as a large creature. Now I count as a huge creature in terms of lifting and moving.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, can't wait to watch this. This is the mechanic that we don't get to see very often from our side.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So oh my, I've got my initiative roll here. I want to see what. Yeah, you heard what I said too. I want to see what your initiative roll is, and that's going to tell me everything we got going on here.
21.
14.
Okay. So Finn would not have beat it. You, however, did beat it by quite a decent margin. It's what's happened is it's shocked and it's stuck in fear of seeing you. Mind you, this thing was fending off and fought against halflings. This is like 5 halflings standing on top of each other. So you've got it in kind of a fearful state where it's like, it's getting ready to release. What is it that you
And
are?
you see the inhale, and it sees me and chokes.
Yeah, right. That's kind of the picture. That's what I'm kind of seeing here. So, Jeremy, what is it that Rook does when you have befuddled this small little seedling, probably only a couple days old at best, and it looks up and it sees that the halflings are growing?
So no, I go step on it.
You want to go step on it?
No, I'm gonna run up to it and
All
like
right.
as easy as I
Yeah,
can without making a ton of noise.
15, because I'm moving in blocks your size. I'm not
Right.
moving 5-foot blocks normally. I'm multiplying by the size of your token. Okay?
Enough.
So 20 is going to put you right, 25 is going to put you stepping down right here. If you jumped a little bit and did me in athletics or acrobatics, you could Mario Brothers jump right on the mushroom from this side of the hedge.
I got one even better.
Okay, so I'll stop right here. That's like 15 right there.
I want to reach down and pick it up and just yeet that son of a bitch out of the thing.
Okay. Go
I
ahead
like
and roll. Go ahead and
aiming
roll.
towards the entrance where it's cold as shit outside that barrier. I just want to
Oh, okay. Yeah.
get
So-
out of here, you fucking pest.
Go ahead and roll an attack roll. Using strength, You can either use strength as your modifier because you want to get a good grip on it, or dexterity to be able to grab it because it's a running chicken. Which one you want to go with? One
So I'm
d20
basically
plus
just making
your.
a grapple, aren't I?
Well, I'm not going to do a contested grapple until you're able to get a hold of it. That's why I'm doing you an attack roll.
Okay, I got you.
You know what I'm saying?
So I would add strength.
Yeah.
And would I get favor on this since I'm so big, or
No. Don't be silly. If anything, it'd be harder.
let's see. So it was a natural 19 plus 2 for strength.
That's got it. You're able to reach down and you get a hold of this sucker. As you do, you can feel your fingers tearing into. You've never really placed hands on one of these yet, Rook. And as you do, you feel all kinds of vines and things moving underneath the surface of it. It almost throws you off a little bit. It's weird as hell, right? And you can see the eyes just frantically rolling around like trying to figure out what the hell to do. And it's opening up and its tongue comes out. It's going to take an attack of opportunity at the tongue with you and it starts lashing its tongue all around like, ah! Like, what do you got a hold of me for? Right? Let's do that real quick. 16?
No.
Okay. So you're able to keep the face away from you as it's it is trying to smack you off with its tongue and shit like that. What do you do?
Throw it.
Okay, do me an athletics check.
Kind of going to do like the Olympian god shot put, just point and.
Go ahead.
Being a strength check, you have favor because the spell gives you advantage.
Okay. D20 plus a 1d10. And a plus 2. So that's 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22.
You threw it with a 22.
Mhm.
Okay. Holy shit. Okay, so, and you're throwing it. Jesus Christ, Jeremy.
Westward into the cold.
Okay.
If it can be done. Whichever way I can see is cold.
Okay. So, as you throw it up over the bush in this direction, and you throw it up and you see it go burst through the clouds, and it goes out and you can see it go through the barrier wall and the cold hits the creature. It automatically explodes, turning into that gaseous ball outside of the barrier, and falls into ash and catches up with the wind on the other side and is no more. When you threw this thing, it went through that like a goddamn like a tank bullet. Like when you threw it through the cloud, there's literally like a hole through the cloud of the vapor trail behind where you threw this son of a bitch out that direction. And all you heard was key. That was it. That's all it got out. That was it. With that, guys, it's 10:28. I'm going to go ahead and call it right there. And we'll get back into this next time and continue on with this harsh and brutal treatment of these poor, helpless little creatures. Because Azara's wanting one for a pet, right? So that's yeah, she's going to have slim pickings, guys. But anyway, that's outstanding. Does anyone have any other comments or anything before I shut this bad boy down?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, well, once again, thanks for hanging in there with us. I'm glad we were able to get something accomplished for only half crew tonight. Once again, I'm Brian. On behalf of myself, Danny, and Jeremy, and those that weren't present tonight, hope you enjoyed this and had as much fun as we did. And we'll hopefully talk to you either next Sunday or the one after that, guys. Right there you are. Which camera I'm looking at? Right there. Take care. See ya.